Um, all right, let me see something. Honey Queen Juice Bar, do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Or Black Magus, one of y'all put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. I'm trying something out over here. If y'all can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. All right, cool. Let me see. All right, bet. Is the audio clear? Slam Bradley, let me know if the audio is clear. Let me see. Slide the mic that way a little bit. Oh. Had to write some questions down. All right, cool. Let me see. At this distance, is it still clear? We still Gucci? Slam Bradley says clear enough. All right, bet. Yeah, the brother just hit me up. He just hit me up in the DM and said that I guess I should probably sit closer to the mic to make sure it's still good. All right. Yeah, he just hit me up in the DM. Said he's going to be a couple of minutes behind. So y'all do me a favor. Y'all go ahead and share the stream out. Guess share the stream out. Share the live out. Let's do that. Let's get that done. You know what? Funny enough, I should probably be able to hear myself. Let me see if I refresh my computer. Let me see what it sounds like. All right, now I'm solid. What you say? Okay, now I'm Gucci, bro. All right. Just waiting on our brother Sincere to pull up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said chill. Yeah, it's not a debate, it's a discussion, man. Like I refuse to kind of like enter into debate with some of these folks, but and in all sincerity, right, pun intended, the brother seems to be sincere. So, you know, he jumped into the mentions and he said he wanted to challenge me on a particular post that I had put up. So it's the end of the day, but I say, you know, I'm willing to engage with the brother. You know what I'm saying? I think it's, yeah, I mean, a Bibi Fahoudie, bro. A Bibi Fahoudie. Race first. Yeah. Let me find out, man. Where you at, sincere love to God? Y'all, what do y'all think in the chat? Let me see who's in here, just real quick, right? Because he said, I guess what he wanted to challenge. I asked him what did he want to label the discussion, and he said he gave the answer was that is FBA a sinking ship? So I'm like, all right, that's dope. We can do that. We can have that conversation. But y'all let me know. Let me see who we got in the chat. Honey Queen Juice Bar says she enjoys both of our content. I appreciate that. You know, I've never checked out the brother's content. Well, I'm lying. Actually, when he kind of like challenged me, I had to go check out his page to make sure that he wasn't you know, a character, so to speak. And like I said, he seems like he seems like a stand-up dude. So that's the only reason I kind of accepted his challenge. But let me see. Brother Dex said, I deal with some of these lineage characters. They seem to only make these separation claims for reparations purposes only. Shout out to Bomani. Bomani's in the building. Bomani, we got a meeting tomorrow, bro. We got our leadership meeting tomorrow for the African War College, aka the Amos Wilson Collective. So that's tomorrow. I think y'all should have got y'all email reminders already. So to the leadership for the Amos Wilson Collective, if y'all watching in here tonight, and shout out to everybody who has officially enrolled in the African War College. Y'all see I got on got my African War College polo on. Got to represent. You know what I'm saying? y'all know what our motto is: serious times calls for serious minds. So, you know, we gotta. You know, it's funny enough. I was listening to you know, as I was thinking about this discussion for tonight, I went and I pulled out Dr. John Henry Clarke's The African World Revolution. You know what I'm saying? And to the family who's in the Amos Wilson Collective, I actually, and on the Warrior channel, right on the Discord, I shared a link to that lecture as well, because Dr. John Henry Clarke also did a lecture called Notes for an African World Revolution. So I really need y'all to go check that out. If you haven't read the book, read the book, because the book is always going to give you more detail. Raheem Shabazz, shout out to my brother. Hold on, Raheem said a lot of hate for FBA. You better than that, brother. No, there's no hate, bro. There's no hate. I think that there's a need for spirited and healthy intellectual discussion, you know, political inquiry, right? I think that that's necessary. You can't sharpen an idea without friction, bro. It's impossible. You know, folks refer to that as pardon me. Folks refer to that as a dialectic. Right? A dialectic is when somebody puts forth a thesis, and then someone else puts forth what's referred to as an antithesis or antithesis, right? But antithesis. And as a result of that thesis and that antithesis, right, working, right, you get what's referred to as synthesis, right? So the best of both ideas push the conversation forward. Right. So I think that in this moment right now, you know, what happens is if you don't have that necessary political friction, right, to sharpen your sword, your blade gonna be dull. There's a reason why if you got a sword, you need a whetstone to keep that joint sharp. You got to sharpen it up. I mean, you can't be out here working with a dull blade, with a dull machete. Yeah, I mean, somebody, Raheem said FBA is lineage based and folks attack it because of their dislike or disagreement with Tariq. I think that's a statement for like the cheap statements, right? Because I said the cheap statements. That's a statement for the cheap seats. Because if someone disagrees with the political efficacy of an idea, to say that you only disagree with the idea because you dislike this person, I think that's cheap. Yeah, I think that's cheap. So we gotta be careful with that. Like if anything, like I open up the lines of dialogue and communication for sincere people. For sincere people who wanna have sincere conversations to get to a common ground. Now, there's some jokers who call themselves FBA and ADOS and Aboriginal and like all these other names. Like, I wouldn't waste my time. I had one debate with somebody from that camp. Forget the brother's name, but he used to be a part of the Freedman camp with like Lord Abba and those folks. All right, I see the brother Sincere Love. All right, brother Sincere, this is my first time doing this, so I see you in the building. So do I got to invite you to join? Let me see. I don't want to mess this joint up. Let me see. All right, I guess you might have to request. Like, I don't know how to do it. Let me see. All right. Join. I just hit accept. Hold on. Let me try that again.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
You got it.
All right.
Peace.
What's good, beloved? Peace. I'm chilling. Now my head is all the way at the top of the screen now, so I guess this joint, it moves up in proportion.
I'm great.
What's good with you?
I'm doing great, man. Sorry about the tardiness.
No, no, it's all good, man. You had to call your goons. You had to call your fam, make sure they don't pull up.
I'm great, man.
What's good
I'm
with
great.
you?
I just had to, take care of get some family stuff squared away before I got on here, so I won't have no interruptions or anything like that. Hopefully, kids might still bother me, but you know how that goes.
No, it's all good, bro. We African men, we fathers. So if your kids, you mean, if you get any disruptions, we're gonna go with the flow. Like I'm here. I've set this time aside just for
Invitation
you.
expired. Oh, okay. I think we both sent each other the invite at the same time. That's what that was. Peace. I see.
Uh-oh. All right. Let me know if y'all still can see me, because I just got like put a 1 in the chat if y'all still can see me, because I just got like a notification that Sincere, like he frozen over this joint. So somebody put a 1 in the chat if I'm still here. All right, cool. All right, he's sending a request again. Hopefully. All right, hopefully this works.
All right, I'm back.
All right, you
I
back?
think we had sent the request at the same time, so it was like some nonsense that went on.
No, it's all good. But listen,
All
man,
right, yes,
you got
sir.
me
Yes,
for an
sir.
hour.
I,
So,
first, I wanted to say peace to the family,
you
man. I see some of the family piling up in the building. Peace to the gods, peace to the herbs, peace to the FBA family, peace to the Pan Africans in the building as well. I see y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning into this live. But yeah, man, I'm not too familiar with you, but I've been following you since recently, and I respect most of the stuff that I see you put out there, and I was kind of caught off guard when I seen your post the other day, talking about FBA, and so I'm like, what's this all about? And so, a couple people told me, yeah, he's been on that for a while. And so I went on your Twitter and I just did a little Twitter search and started looking up, and I was like, oh, what's up with this? Let's chop it up, because you seem like a brother to me, to have your head on your shoulders correctly. You don't seem to be just trolling to a certain degree, I would say, but to me it seems like you're a little bit too intelligent to be saying some of the things that I see you saying and tweeting and all that. So where's this energy coming from? What's the problem that you have with FBA?
Well, I'll say this, because I wanna allow space for you to challenge me, on the statement that you said you disagreed with, because I feel like that's kind of like the catalyst for our conversation tonight. So we want to make sure we jump into that. But in terms of any political and or ideological disagreements that I've had with FBA and or the precursor like ADOS, I've documented them in writing. I've attempted to use kind of like back channels to have conversations so that shit don't be messy like in the public. And for the most part, I would say for like the last 2 years or so, I've pretty much been silent on it, because I see that space, I see that entire movement almost as operating as like agents of chaos, and I don't think it makes a lot of sense to attack it just ongoingly, right? Because I feel like that just adds to like the confusion, right? So in many ways, I've just kind of like removed myself, but my yeah, until recently. Yeah, I made a statement. You want to say what the statement was? Because the statement
I'll
was
read the
kind of like
statement.
what
The statement said, labeling yourself a foundational Black American is akin to calling yourself a FB plantation, FB Jim Crow, or better yet, a foundational Black Titanic. Pitching your identity to a sinking ship is what happens when an African mind reaches full-blown menticide.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I stand on that. So you said you wanted
Absolutely.
to challenge me on that statement in particular. So
absolutely. So, if us identifying ourselves, first of all, that's my main question. Like, what is the issue with us identifying ourselves specifically and separately from all these other ethnic groups? Why is it a problem for us to label ourselves and to differentiate ourselves from some of the other ethnic groups. You don't you don't think you don't
no
think there's
problem.
anything
Yeah, I don't.
unique and special about Black Americans?
I don't have a problem with us labeling and identifying at all. Like I've never stated that I have a problem with us creating political terms or creating names that reflect our identity and or our political aspirations. I've never stated that I have a problem with that. What I said was hitching your identity to America is akin to hitching your identity to a sinking ship, you know, and I equated America to the plantation system, to Jim Crow, and I equated it to Titanic. So what I'm arguing here is that it's very short-sighted, and it's actually an act of political regression for us at this point in time, especially given where America is in her political journey, to attach our identity to America. That's what I've argued. But I've never had a problem with us seeking to create names to add clarity, right? I'm a student of Omowale Afrika, created the term New African. He said that we are New Africans because the people, Black people in this country, who are descendants of those who were enslaved in this country, we represent an amalgamation of different African groups, right, that were enslaved here. We also have admixture from some Native Americans, and due to rape and other criminality, some of us even have some European admixture. So what he said is we in America, he said we represent a new African. So I've never had a problem with folks.
Where's your family from?
What was that? Oh, we starting with the gangbanging.
No gangbanging. I just want to be clear about who I'm speaking to.
No, no. This is the question that I was looking forward to answering, because it's reflective of the environment that we exist in. This is like Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. Where your grandma from, where your daddy was gangbanging. But it's okay. It's reflective of the political regression that exists in this environment. So let's go patrilineal. My family goes back to 1784 in Georgia, just outside of Savannah. So patrilineal means my father's side. Matrilineal, my family goes back to Alabama. Now, I can't get records to go past the 1800s, but that's where my family is. My family is tied. I'm an African American. I'm an African descendant who's doing my best to survive.
Right, that's the same thing. Actually, what you just described.
No, it's not.
Look, word semantics that's neither here nor there. I don't mind if someone doesn't subscribe to the term foundational Black American, but the attacks are as if, first of all, you put it as if we're some type of group, some type of political group, or some type of organization, or something like that, when that's not what it is. It's a social term to describe exactly the people that you just described. When you talked about your background, the people that you subscribed are exactly what we're saying are foundational Black Americans. All it means is, and I'm pretty sure you understand this, all it means is we are descendants of the people who are the foundation of America. There would be no America if it wasn't for our ancestors specifically. That's different from somebody who migrated here from the Caribbean or Africa or someplace like that. Sure, we all have African ancestry if you're going to go back, as far as we can go back, of course. But that applies to the entire planet. Everybody came from Africa. Africa is the origin of Africa is the origin of humanity.
Hold on, I'm not.
Is Africa not the origin of humanity?
Yeah, absolutely. All humans on the planet come from Africa, right? We all have a common ancestor. We know that humanity originates from Africa. However, the development of, and I don't want to get into fucking science and fucking biology with you, but I just think that some of the arguments being made here, right? I feel like if you're going to put forth
arguments, because listen,
right? No, I'm only responding to what you're saying, but hold on one second, because I'm not going to cut off your wisdom when you're speaking, but if you ask me a question, allow me to answer. All right, so it's impossible to make the argument that essentially we are all Africans because humanity has its origin in Africa, right? That's like saying, well, we're all humans because we're all here on planet Earth. It's a nonsensical argument, and it's an argument that's not reflective of it. I don't want to be condescending, but it's a nonsensical argument because the development of the different human groups happens over an evolutionary period of thousands of years. There's a process by which East Asians were made yellow, so to speak, and Central Asians were made brown, so to speak, and Eurasians were made white. So they're like this. There's a process. So we understand kind of like the differentiation that exists within the human group. So when we're talking about Africans, we're talking about those of us, to use a term that y'all like to use, those of us who are melanated, right? Those of us who have this bright, vitamin D enriched solar charged skin. That's what I'm talking about when I say African. I'm not talking about the Europeans who were trapped on the other side of the Caucasus Mountains. That's what I'm not talking. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us as Black people when I refer to Africans. So like, let's not make any like nonsensical like arguments, because I don't want to dip too far in the weeds with.
I mean, but what you're describing is race, right? You're describing race when you talk about it takes thousands of years for these different groups to develop. You're talking about racial, what we know as racial groups. You know what I'm saying? Mongoloid, Caucasian, Negroid. You know what I'm saying? These different races developed out of, up out of Africa, traveling to different parts of the world, going through whatever they went through with that type of evolution. Different races came about, but we know as races. But when we're having this conversation that you and I are having, we're not talking about race. We're talking about ethnicity. We're talking about lineage. And so if you, Africa itself is against ethnicities on Africa alone. You have continental Africans who don't refer to themselves as African. They say I don't feel comfortable identifying myself as an African. I identify myself with my tribe and my nation and my nationality. That's how they identify for the most part.
So what I don't want to do, brother, is I don't want to kind of like, I don't want to chase you through the weeds, right? I'm not trying to have semantic arguments. I'm trying to have a political discussion, right? So you asked me the question, right? You said you wanted to challenge me on my statement of why I made the argument of hitching your identity to America is the equivalent of hitching your identity to the Titanic, to a sinking ship, right? This is not a new argument, by the way, right? I mean, King, it's funny, right? King said, I fear I may have, integrated my people into a burning house, right? So if we understand what America represents on the world stage, right? Where's the logic behind coming to the acknowledgement that this, in fact, is a burning house, doing the work politically to raise the consciousness of the collective to bring us out of it? And then we arrive in this period where the solution becomes wrap yourself in an American flag, pour gas on it, and then run back into the house. It doesn't make any sense. And I want to push back on one other statement you made. You said that I am an FBA. I'm not. Naming is political. What you answer to and what you do not answer to is all political, right? People who are among our group of African Americans who refer to themselves as FBA, right? Y'all like to make this statement that y'all are not a group, y'all are a lineage, but y'all can't impose, right, that particular framework on the rest of the group. If I walk through the middle of the hood right now and I say, yo, you're a foundational Black American, most of the people who are not involved in internet or digital culture ain't going to know what the hell I'm talking about. But if I say, are you an African American? They're like, oh yeah, I'm an African American, because that's what they know. So this change, right, in our moniker, and like I said, like I'm not against change, right? I have a list of changes that have been made, as well as their political reasoning, right? So if you look at New African, right? Amari Obadeli, the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa, they created that term, right? Because one, it's politically aspirational. They want to be able to identify a group for a political project. That project, land freedom, right? Their whole call is free to land. I'm not against that. I understand their politics and I understand the naming of New African. Malcolm X, another great example. He created an organization. He said the Organization of Afro-American Unity, right? Why did he use the term Afro-American? He wasn't talking about blacks in the United States. He was talking about blacks throughout the diaspora. Blacks in Canada, blacks in the United States, blacks in Mexico, blacks in the Caribbean, and blacks in Latin America. But he used the term Afro-American because it has political meaning. King called us American Negroes. Why? Because the term American Negroes suited his political agenda of integrating into America, right? Yvette Carnell, a more recent advent. She said, we're not African American. We need to remove this African off of our name. We are American descendants of slaves. All of these are political monikers to facilitate a political agenda. So when I say I denounce or I do not refer to myself as foundational Black American, it simply means that A, I don't align with the particular agenda attempted to be achieved, right, under this particular, under this. I'm gonna let you explain that. I'm gonna let you explain that, right? I don't align with the agenda that's trying to be achieved under this moniker, and also like the direction that it's going in. Hitching your cart to America it's a fool's mission, and it's short-sighted at best. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, but I'm trying to speak to why I'm in disagreement with the term foundational Black.
I'm still not really getting it, except for the American part. Seems like you have a problem with, and there's a lot for me to respond to there, and I'm not good at remembering every single point that I want to respond to. But man, so first of all, let me just go here, man. Instead of even trying to do that, let me just go here, because your name, I've established that you are what I refer to as the foundational Black American. I don't have a problem not subscribing to that term, but the same lineage group that I belong to, you're a part of as well. So the name, Omowale, is that how you say it? That's not your name that you were born with, that you were given, right? Right. But you chose that name for yourself because you developed a certain amount of consciousness. You became aware of who you are, your history, culture, blah, blah, blah. And you decided, and you rejected the name that was given to you, and you chose a name for yourself.
No, I didn't reject the name that was given to me. I didn't reject it. So naming is political. That's one part too. That's one part too that I wanted to address too. Foundational Black American is not a political term, actually. Foundational Black American is just a social term. That's why I say I don't have a problem if you want to go by that term or not. But the science behind it, you know what I'm saying? What we're trying to achieve by doing so, you know what I'm saying? Where's the problem with that? If you say we're hitching ourselves to America, like we're not here to try to save America. America's a burning building. America's a sinking ship. We're here to dismantle the entire system. And the system is global. It's not just in America. The system of white supremacy is a global system. So what we supposed to hitch ourselves to? We hitch ourselves to Africa. They ain't doing no better. Ain't nothing popping over there. So let me push back just a little bit, brother. This is, and the reason why I called it a discussion, right? I was very intentional, right, about it not being a debate, right? Because I think a discussion can be more constructive, right, to folks who are, watching. So there's no such thing.
To all the resources, but it's controlled by who? I'm sorry, I was just responding to somebody in the comments.
No, don't respond to that. Ignore the chat, bro. It's me and you. Like ignore the chat. Like there's no, all naming is political. And hold on. All naming is political. In fact, everything is political. This is why I brought the text out. I was talking about it before you got online. John Henry Clark, African World Revolution, right? And one of the particular issues issues that I have with folks who call themselves FBA, right? This is a practice or a behavior that I often see folks engage in that particular camp. And what I refer to it as almost like ideological false flagging, right? Y'all will put up the image of Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson, Francis Cress Welsing, all of whom were adamantly against the ideological and or social framework that's manifested in
like what? Like what? What exactly were they against that we on?
Oh my goodness, bro.
Because the thing is, the thing about that is, let me just say this. Because the thing about that is, there are.
Let
me just say this. Let me just add this. There are many people within the sphere who embrace the term foundational Black American, who've actually sat at the feet of some of the people that you just named.
What does that mean, bro?
What I'm saying is, there's no contradiction. There's no contradiction. I'm talking about people like Dr. Cobb. I'm talking about people like Professor James Small. I'm talking about like Sister Dr. Mahat, and people of that nature who have actually sat at the feet of the people that we all study, the people that we refer to as teachers.
Okay.
There's no contradiction there.
There is. But what I don't want this to turn into, right? I don't want to turn this into me going at Dr. Muhammad or Dr. James Small or Dr. You're like that's not what this is. And furthermore, both Dr. Kaba Kameni and Dr. James Smalls don't necessarily have the proximity to the digital spaces that folks of our generation have to even hold a critique of the behavior and practices of folks in this group, right? Dr. James Smalls, no. Listen, bro, and I don't want to go too far off on a tangent because I want to stay with the conversation. I want to stay with
you're saying. You're saying they're not tapped in. You're saying they being basically misled because they're not tapped into the conversation.
I didn't say that they were misled. Like I don't have a problem with them attempting to embrace and influence, direct or educate different groups to develop within Black America. Like I don't have a problem with that. But hold on 1 second. What I'm saying is that the people who you just mentioned don't have the lens of somebody who has the proximity that I have. I was the first person to put a critique of ADOS on record. I was the first person to put a critique of FBA on record. At one point, Tariq and I, we followed each other on Twitter, and I tried to, reach back channel to say, yo, bro, like you seem like you negating everything you once stood for, but that's neither here nor there. But I want to say that I was also the first person to publicly disassociate myself with Tariq Nasheed publicly in November of 2019 when he posted a video on his Twitter page of an African brother being beat down in New York by what he referred to as an FBA brother and celebrating the act. When he did that, that is nothing that the Kaba Kameni wouldn't co-sign that. Dr. Ma'at wouldn't co-sign that.
We all not going to agree on every single thing.
No, it's not. It's not about agreeing.
I'm not saying they agree with celebrating one Black person beating up another Black person. I'm saying they agree with us self-identifying and using our own term to identify ourselves in order for us to get what we're supposed to get out of the United States government. That's what it's all about. It's about countering the fact that we've been under this benign neglect policy, basically by the Democrats and the left wing of white supremacy. They're the ones that have been practicing this benign neglect policy. All these other terms that we've been referred to as have worked against us. And so all we did was codify a term that nobody can latch themselves onto to be able to say, when we need A, B, and C, this is the group that we're talking about. We're not talking about all these other groups. We're not talking about people who immigrated over here. We're not talking about minorities and people of color. The group that we're talking about are foundational Black Americans. Those of us who descended from the people who built this country. That's who you are.
So I'm glad you said that, because I prepared some questions. So the first question that I had prepared was, what's the political significance of the name FBA? So you just answered that question by saying that it's aiding in the fight for reparations. And the second question, partly, all right. So, and then the second question I was going to ask, you know, we both African American, right? So there's a statement, you know, within our culture where we say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, what exactly? And I want, because you just stated it, but I want you to clarify your point. What exactly was FBA the fix for?
FBA was the fix for the broad and ambiguous terms that we've accepted over the decades and centuries that have worked against us.
In order to achieve what?
It's a counter from people being able to tether themselves to us. People that look like us, that migrate over here and blend in with us, and they get in political spaces and they start speaking for us, saying what we don't deserve and what we don't need. That has become a major problem. We see it all throughout the political spectrum, both sides.
So let me
finish answering your question.
Okay.
You have people all throughout the political spectrum, all up in the Congressional Black Caucus and all of these other groups that are supposed to represent us, who are non-foundational Black Americans, and they work against us. They are diametrically opposed to what we're trying to achieve. And so he said, okay, the problem is these terms that we're using, everybody fits under these same terms. If we call ourselves African American, well, shit, Elon Musk is an African American. What's the difference?
All right, so let me just ask a follow-up question, right? So according to what I just heard, you have so I said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So you said that the need for the FBA fix was because it allows for clarity for folks to be able to identify who we are, which I'm assuming, right? And you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming you're saying that because if they can identify who we are, what they can, give us reparations, like what is it exactly that we need them to be able to distinguish us between others for? Like, what is that going to help us achieve?
So reparations is absolutely on the top of the list, but that's just part of it. All tangibles, policies, and benefits that we're supposed to get from this government that end up going to everyone else except us is what we're advocating for, is what the differentiation is for.
So if I understand you correctly again, right, because we're going to walk this down slowly.
Let's do it.
The benefits and tangibles that we are supposed to receive, we haven't received because they haven't been able to properly identify us.
Not because they haven't been able to properly identify us, because they've been running the game. It's not like if they knew who we were, then they would give us what we're supposed to get. No, this is a game that they've been running. This is a strategy that they've been running by using these broad and ambiguous terms that they know they can lump all these other people into. We just didn't peep game for a long time. We were saying, okay, we all Black, we all the same. We all supposed to get this.
But now your reasoning and your logic. But hold on, now your reasoning and your logic ain't adding up, because you just hold on. Hold on. No, it's not off at all.
Show me where the math is off. I'm saying my math is off.
All right, I can do that. You just made the statement that the problem was we're not getting the resources, tangibles, go down the list of things that would be given to us because the moniker that we're under is broad and ambiguous, is the term that you use. So the fix to that problem becomes to create a moniker so that we can be distinguished, and now they can know who we are. But then you stated that them knowing who we are is not going to get us the resources. So again, what did it fix?
That's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the game that they have been running will no longer be effective, because what happens is with the play that they was running, they say, okay, you know, let's just use politics for example. Somebody's running for whatever office, whether it be the presidency or Congress or whatever else it may be. They vying for the black vote, and they're using words like black, minority, underserved, and all of these other terms that we automatically think they're talking about us. And we say, okay, cool, this person is down with us. Obama, we're going to go out in droves and vote for this person. And now they got our support, and they don't have to do anything for us because they never promised us anything in the first place by intentionally using the broad and ambiguous terms. So now we're saying, nah, we're getting very specific about who we're talking about and what it is that we need. And if you're not speaking our language, then you're not going to get our support. And then the political structure is going to fall out from the bottom. That's how that's going to work. Because especially when it comes to the Democrats, they cannot win an office without our support. They can't win office without our support. So by us codifying ourselves with this term and other terms like freedmen and whatever the case may be, those are more political. FBA is social. But with us codifying ourselves by using the correct term, because words are important, we learn these things from Mr. Neely Fuller, from Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. We understand that the white supremacists are very good with words and they play these games. So we're getting hip to the game, finally. We just catching up, that's all. And also on a social level, it's effective too, because you have people that are latching on to some of our cultural achievements and saying, oh, those achievements belong to everybody, when certain things are specific to us. Everybody didn't create hip hop. Everybody didn't create jazz and R&B and all of these things. These things are specific to us. And so everybody else, when they get a win, they take their wins and they wave their flag. They say, this is a win for the Nigerians. This is a win for the Kenyans. This is a win for the Haitians. But then when they do some bullshit, they don't want to accept, oh, this is an L for the Haitians, et cetera, et cetera. The L's just fall on us. It's just black when it's an L. But when it's a W, they want to get specific. Now, another question that I wanted to ask you is, how much content have you created? Because again, like I said, after I seen your comment that you made, I went down your timeline to see, some other comments that you made.
I'm not, hold on one second. Hold on.
But I want to ask you this question. You can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say, but then get to this question right here. How much content have you created going at people from Africa and in the Caribbean who differentiate themselves and talk down on foundational Black Americans? Those are the ones that call us Akadas and Yankees and all of that. How much content have you created speaking down on them? Because that would be the Pan-African way, right?
Yeah, man. It's somebody wrote in the comment that I'm frustrated, and I'm not frustrated at all. It's that I'm listening to you speak, and the amount of just like the fallacy.
I have very thick skin, brother. I have very thick skin. You're not gonna.
Yeah, no, I'm not. It ain't. First of all, bro, like I want to be brotherly, right?
Yeah,
like, I want to speak to you the same way that I would speak to you, like face to face.
This is constructively respectful. This is constructively respectful. But I'm just saying, I don't want you to taper what you're trying to say because you don't want to hurt my feelings. It's perfectly fine.
Not. At the end of the day, yo, I open up the lines of discourse because it doesn't make sense for us to continue to fragment ourselves and not create a space where we can have conversations across like ideological lines, so to speak. Right. So with that, respect is always the primary thing. So I'm trying to be respectful. Is what I'm saying here. But the point I was trying to raise is that, as I was listening to you, bro, and I'm getting an echo. I don't know what it is, but there were just so many fallacies and the assumptions that you were making, and then some of your arguments kind of like went all over the place where you start talking about, who gets credit for like jazz and rap and all that stuff. Like I'm not even, that ain't even where my mind is at all. Like that's so trivial and petty compared to what we up against right now. Like the
Not
question,
to me.
Hold on, no, listen. The question that we have to contend with as African people in America is that of survival, right? That's the question that we have to contend with. We are being ethnically cleansed. It's a systematic genocide being practiced on us. No, wait. This
is warfare. So in war, I'm always going to make the main thing the main thing, right? In this war, I'm not going to take a step back to start indulging in the ignorance about who created rap and who created hip hop. Nigga, we on a sinking ship, right? This time, hold on, wait. And I don't mean to call you a nigga. I'm saying it in love. We on a sinking ship. This vessel is going down, and we beefing with each other over who created hip hop and who. I don't even care. I don't care. I just want to make a statement that I don't have a vested interest in that particular fight.
That's fine.
Now, if we're talking about liberation, right? If we're talking about land, we're talking about freedom. If we're talking about overthrowing the system of racism, white supremacy, I'm deeply vested in that fight. And that's the conversation that I thought we were here to have. Right?
Absolutely.
So when I say that the assumptions in your argument are deeply flawed, it reflects the psychology, right? The mental side of this particular political moment that we find ourselves in. Let me give you an example, and you should rock with me on this. 60 years ago, 1964, Malcolm X gives a speech called "The Ballad of the Bullet." In this speech, he states several times that we as Black people in this country are politically immature, right? This is 60 years ago. And I want you to put this into context. The context is that 60 years ago was the high watermark. It was the height of Black political organization. We have never been as organized as a collective on the attack against the system of white supremacy as we were then. In fact, we were so organized that this government responded by using methods of repression, i.e. counterintelligence program. This government literally
doing that now.
Launched. Wait. Not the same way. No, listen to what I'm saying to you, bro. And let me pipe down a little bit.
No, you're fine. I love the fire.
So just hear me out really quick. 60 years ago, we were organized to such an extent that this government had to respond by launching a secret and covert war on our community, killing. In 1969 alone, there were 45 Black assassinations, including Mark Clark and Fred Hampton. 1969 alone, 45 Black political organizers were assassinated. Over 700 Black men and women were falsely arrested. Shout out to Matul Shakur, just coming home. So this is at a point when we are organized to the highest extent that we've ever been. Malcolm says we're politically immature. Now, fast forward 60 years from that, we are disorganized, politically fragmented, and politically confused like we've never been before. At this point, we're not just politically immature, we're politically retarded. We're politically illiterate. And it is only in this environment that a movement like either FBA or ADOS can come forth, because the ground is fertile for that type of movement. That type of movement does not fly when we are politically educated, when we're moving towards freedom, when we're moving towards liberation. Right now, we walking backwards, blindfolded, bent over, with our hands tied behind our back, and we're talking about we fighting for freedom or reparations, but then we start mixing in who created rap and jazz. None of this makes sense. None of it is intelligent.
I disagree with you on that point, but I didn't bring that up for you to harp on the hip hop thing. I was just making a one point. That wasn't my overall point.
But the thing is, you never made your point. You never made the point.
I understand what your point is about the political immaturity. What does that have to do with it?
The point that I was making is that when we were the most organized we've ever been in this country, Malcolm assessed us as being politically immature. 60 years later, we are the most disorganized that we've ever been. And the point that I'm making is right now, we're not just politically immature, we're politically illiterate. We're historically illiterate, right? When was No Child Left Behind? 2001. So what, we 22 years into No Child Left Behind. Black people in this country are politically retarded. And it's only in that environment.
Not the ones that's in my circles. Not the ones that's not the ones that are labeling themselves foundational Black Americans.
Bro, that is the manifestation of our being retarded.
No, like, it's not. Not everybody. I can't say everybody that uses the term, because there are people that use the term that say all type of wild shit. Again, it's not a group where everybody don't got the same ideology. But the people that I associate with who are on this type of time, who are on this type of wave, are very politically astute, way more than me, and very knowledgeable about our history and culture. It's not people who are dumb, deaf, and blind who are out here saying this. That's crazy. And that's the problem that I have. Like, it seems like a lot of people who attack the FBA movement really have a problem with Tariq Nasheed. That seems to be like the underlying problem. People don't like his style and how he gets down. And what ends up happening is attacking him, you really begin attacking all of us, because you make it seem like we're all just blind sheep who are just, we don't know nothing about history. We don't know nothing about politics. We just following what some dude said on Twitter. And that's insulting to us.
Bro, this is bro, I don't know if you were watching before you got on, but the deflection that you just made.
Nah, when I came in, you said, I forgot exactly what it was, but you framed us as being you framed Foundational Black American as being a group.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. I just want to point this out really quick, because it's an unnecessary deflection for a political and ideological conversation. It's the same thing that my brother Raheem Shabazz, and he's in the chat right now, and he said earlier that people don't like FBA because of Tariq. That's a unhealthy to even enter that into the conversation is.
So Dr. Claude Anderson was using the term Native Black.
All right, let's do this really quick before we keep going on, right? Because you asked me earlier about my lineage, right? And I saw that you shared one of my tweets where I said I'm less concerned about your lineage. I'm more concerned about the lineage of your ideas, right? Do you know why I said that?
Go ahead, brother. Break it down. Share.
So the reason why I stated that is because historically within Black America, there's been two strains of Black political thought.
Actually, I do know why you said that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Right? There's been two strains of Black political thought. There's been what's referred to as the integrationist strain, and there's been what's referred to as the nationalist strain, right? I think that that's important, because whenever we start bringing people up, we have to ask ourselves where they're situated at in those two streams, right? And I want to make this very clear. Not all integrationists were, high and high, by and by, like, shucking and jiving, like weak. There were a lot of integrationists who were what I refer to as militant integrationists.
And warriors.
Radical integrationists. But their aim and objective was still that of integration, right? And we can have a conversation about the intelligence of that being our end goal. But I say that to say, much respect to Dr. Claude Anderson. I have a deep appreciation for some of his economic observations that he's made as it pertains to Black labor and white wealth, right? I have a deep appreciation for that aspect of his writing and of his thought. But that being said, Dr. Claude Anderson is in that integrationist stream. I think it's important for us to acknowledge. What was that?
You said Dr. Anderson is in the integrationist stream?
Yes,
How so?
So you do know that Dr. Claude Anderson worked for the Jimmy Carter administration, right? So you do know that ultimately his goal is to figure out how we as Black people in America can essentially gain equity in America economically, right? How we can be a part of this particular political apparatus. And there's no way for us to do that without practicing group economics. What I'm saying is I'm not fully against some of Dr. Claude Anderson's perspectives. Some of his perspectives, I mean, even before Dr. Claude Anderson, you have folks, who's the brother who wrote The Crisis of the Negro Intellectual, Harold Cruz, making very similar arguments. So these arguments are not new, but the point I'm making is that if you don't have the ability, right, to trace the lineage of ideas, but more importantly, what these ideas are meant to achieve for us, you're having a conversation blindfolded. And you just introducing personalities and names, and you don't have the ability to look forward to see where their ideas are taking us. That's the problem.
Okay, so then if he was integrationist, then why was he screaming at the top of his lungs that, you know, we're a unique ethnic group? I'll just put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Forget about the terms. But but for the last 30, 40 years, he's been screaming as loud as he can. Listen, we need to stop identifying with all these broad and ambiguous terms. We don't blend in with all the rest of these people. We are unique. We are exceptional people.
How does the fact that you just stated negate the other? Because
to me that seems like a separatist attitude.
Nah. All right. Well, listen. I don't want to get us into no confusion, but I'll say this because you just made a statement. So I'll say this: Dr. Claude Anderson is very accessible. So the statement you just made about, you know, him having a separatist perspective, you can go and ask him if he has a separatist perspective. Let's keep the conversation on the FBA. So just starting back at the beginning, my main critique is attaching or hitching your identity to Americana or American identity is a fool's errand, right? Just like Dr. King said, I've integrated my people into a burning house.
Good. It's not about hitching ourselves to Americana. What we're saying is we are the group of people who invented America. That's a fact.
Okay.
That's just a fact. It's just a factual statement. It's not hitching ourselves to the political structure or whatever the case may be. He's saying, listen, we the people that built this country. Y'all motherfuckers owe us.
Brother Sincere.
It's simple.
All naming, right? All naming is political. There's no such thing as there's no such thing as apolitical naming. And again, if you don't understand that, that's like when Du Bois said, all art is political. Everything is political, right? Because politics is not. Wait. Hold on one second.
But I brought up art and you said it was petty.
What was that?
I brought up art earlier and you said it was petty.
Nah, I said us arguing over who created hip hop is petty.
There's no
who
argument.
Created jazz
There's no
is
argument.
petty. So like you. So no. If you're gonna quote me right.
I'm
right.
There's no argument. I was just making a point to say that part of our usage of the term is to make that differentiation.
Brother, you still haven't been able to lay out what differentiation achieves for you, right? You haven't, right? And then you have two audiences that you're differentiating for. You're differentiating for the white power structure because they've been finessing and not giving you your resources and all these things that you mentioned, right? I ain't talking about reparations when I'm talking about resources. I'm talking about what you mentioned. You mentioned tangibles and all of that, right? You said that they ain't been giving it to you because they've put you in an all-in bucket.
It's not
where it's easy. What was that?
Not what I said.
Okay, bro. All right. I had another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You made the statement tonight, but I think you make it quite often because when you said that you wanted to have this discussion, I went and looked at some of your content as well. And this is from a video you did on September the 22nd, 2022. I'm going to read the quote. It was a video on Taharka Bay. You might be familiar with it. September 22nd, 2022. You said, this was in reference to, you said you were feeling personally offended when people call us followers of Tariq Nasheed. Does this jog your memory a little bit? I'm going to give you the quote, though. But does this follow your memory, jog your memory?
No.
I'll give you the quote. You said here, I have a brain. I have discernment. I know how to cross-examine information. Y'all are doing straw man arguments because you can't argue with what's actually being said. You can't argue with the actual ideology. End quote. So my question for you is, what is the actual ideology? I would love to know, because you stated that FBA is not a group; it's an identity. Okay, so what is the actual ideology? Clarify that for me.
It's very simple. Foundational Black Americans are those of us, Black people here in America, who are descended from the people who built America, the people who were enslaved here in America. We're not immigrants. We're the only group here that are non-immigrants. We're the only group here that is owed a blood debt from the United States government. It's that simple. It's not really complicated. It's not really complicated at all.
So that's the ideology?
No, I'm saying that's the breakdown of the social term.
I'm asking you, what is the ideology? Because you said that people can't argue with the actual ideology.
Because they make a lot of statements, and you've done it a few times here tonight, make a lot of statements that are not what we're arguing against, something that we're not actually saying.
I'm asking you for clarification right now. I'm asking you, what is the actual ideology? That's what I'm asking you.
I just told you, it's about specificity. That's all it's about.
I'm asking you to be specific.
That's
the
all
ideology.
I'm making it very simple. I'm not complicating it at all. It's about specificity. We are just being very specific about ourselves as a unique ethnic group here in America. Something that we have never done historically.
Okay, bro. Let me.
We have never done that historically.
Just so we're clear, right? So this patch that you see right here says African War College, right? It's an institution, and I want to answer one of your other questions, right? The reason why the work that we do in what we do in the African War College is work that we've been charged with by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, right? She said that we have a responsibility to make our people understand, see, and confront their true reality. And she said our true reality is that of war, right? That means that we have an enemy, and we have to be clear on who our opponent is, who our opposition is, what their tactics are, what their strategy. These are all things that we got to be clear on, right? So ideology is an arrow in your quiver. An ideology is something that's used in warfare in order to achieve an objective, right? So my question for you is, if specificity is your ideology, which of your objectives does it help you to achieve? How does specificity? I'm asking you a very clear question. How does specificity confront or solve the Black condition, which is oppression, which is we are landless, which is we are wealthless, which is we are powerless? So how does specificity help us to regain or reclaim the land? How does it give us the power that we need to confront and overthrow our enemies? Speak to that.
When you say we, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about, so you said racism, white supremacy, or pan-Europeanism.
You said give us the power, because it's, it seems like you're talking about a global problem, because the oppression that you're talking about, the land problem that you're talking about, all of those things that you're talking about, that is a global issue. And so my response to that is, the foundational Black American ideology does not solve a global problem. Wait. Hold on a second, brother.
No, pause. You just told a lie.
Hold on a second.
Let me correct you first. Let me correct you. You just said that the issue of land was a global problem.
Yeah.
The issue of land is local and global.
Right.
Just like what Pan-Africanism is meant to achieve. It's meant for us to organize ourselves locally, right? But always be thinking globally, because we're tied in against the system of Pan-Europeanism. So locally, we've lost.
I agree with that.
98% of the land that we've had in this country over the past 100 years. So my question to you is, how does specificity solve that problem?
I was just trying to get clear. When we're talking about the white supremacy problem, what I'm trying to tell you is we don't see FBA as the quick fix for white supremacy. That's not what this is about.
What is it about? What is
it about? This is about getting our shit together over here. Because what we've been doing, we've been putting the cart before the horse and trying to get everybody's shit together around the world. This is what we've been doing. We've been saying everybody Black, everybody melanated, we all got to hold hands and fight together. Everything that we achieve is going to go to everybody. Everybody, we all got to do this together. That's what we've been doing. And what we realized is, hold on, we gotta fall back. We gotta circle our wagons. We gotta get our shit together over here so that we can have some strength and be able to set the example. Because what we realize is everything that we do as foundational Black Americans becomes a trend, whether it's progressive or not, whether it's progressive or it's non-progressive. For some reason, there's something about us where when we do something, it resonates around the world. So what we said was, okay, instead of trying to get everybody on board because there's too many coons throughout the diaspora that's never going to get on code with us. We see that. That's been a major problem. The tribalism on the continent, the colorism in the Caribbean, all of that stuff, it's been a major problem. So we saying, listen, these people don't see the global white supremacy problem the way we see it. So what we need to do is we need to get our stuff together over here as an ethnic group first. And then we can set an example once we have our strength and we got our weight up. Then we can set an example that hopefully these other groups can follow and get on board, and then we can take the show on the road. But FBA is not the quick fix for the global white supremacy problem. That's not what it is. Nobody's under that illusion. This is about our unique ethnic group over here in America.
Brother Sincere, I love you, bro. You know, and all sincerity, man, because you got to understand, like, sometimes these conversations are just very, very, sometimes these conversations are difficult to have, bro. Let me just say that. But
I mean, you know, nobody said it would be easy.
I mean, it's not difficult, not difficult in the sense that, like, it's, yeah, man. Let me just say this, bro. You made the statement that FBA isn't a political thing; it's a social thing. Then you just followed. Yes, you just followed that up by saying that the ideology is specificity, and through the use of specificity, it allows us to deal with our. You started naming now our political problems that we're dealing with in America.
Right.
Do you follow?
Right. Listen. But listen, the term is you get caught up in the term itself.
So let me
the term itself is what I'm saying is non-political. That doesn't mean that some of us are not going to be doing political work.
Brother,
that doesn't mean that some people that are may run for office.
Remove the word, and everybody watching, remove the word non-political from your vocabulary. Everything is, there's no such thing as non-political. We exist in a state of war. Everything is political. There's no such thing as non-political. And if you can't see that, if you can't see how everything is either a tool for your liberation or empowerment, or it's a tool for your disempowerment, then it's like you can't even pass go.
But listen,
right? And so the point, because the one that you challenged me on the statement of why I'm critical, and I'm going to continue to be critical of hitching our identity to American, because it's politically inept. It tells me right away you don't have a political vision that takes you. You can't see far enough into the future and or the past to get us to liberation, right? That calling yourself an FB American literally represents an abortion of our resistance struggle, of our liberation struggle. You understand what I'm saying? So,
all right, cool. So you have a problem with that term because we're hitching ourselves to America, which is a burning building, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm describing to you as what we're trying to achieve, the purpose of what we're doing, you don't have a problem with that, though. You're saying that's a good cause, but you're using the term.
I haven't even heard what it is that you. I asked you.
So you didn't hear me. So you didn't hear me say that the purpose of us differentiating ourselves is so that we can get our weight up over here, so that we can demand what we're owed from the United States government.
Oh my goodness, bro!
So that when we ask for the tangibles that we deserve, that we being very specific about who we're talking about, that's the purpose. Do you have a problem with that purpose?
Yeah, I actually do.
Okay, so what's the problem with the purpose? Forget about the term.
The problem that I have is that it's unintelligent and it's uninformed.
We're not the United States government. Is,
I know what I
wait,
said.
hold on one second. The United States government is at war with black people, bro. No amount of changing your name on paper or otherwise is going. Like nothing but strength. Nothing but strength is going to get us anything. If you want something, you're gonna have to claw that shit from the hands of your dead enemy. You understand what I'm saying? So you changing your name, you wrapping yourself in the American flag as a signal of distress, you doing all these things. None of that. The United States government is very clear on who you are. They understand your conditions because, newsflash, they are the architects of your condition. They are the architects of your environment. And you think you're about to get yourself out of that trick bag by renaming yourself.
You're still talking about the name.
Go back. Hold on. Wait. No. I want to pin you down.
But I want you to talk about. I want you to talk about the cause.
Let me pin you.
With the cause.
Let me pin you.
I want you to talk about the cause. Do you have a problem? Do you think foundational Black Americans, what you refer to as African Americans, the people who are non-immigrants here in America, descended from the slaves who built America, do you think that we deserve reparations specifically for our group, excluding every other group? Do you think that that is owed to us and us only?
Do I think that we deserve reparations? Reparations, as y'all stated in the chat all night, is a debt that is owed. But how you hold on one second, bro. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna talk real slow here. One of my biggest problems, bro, that I have with I'm glad you showed that flag too, because one of the biggest problems that I have with people who march under that flag, and more so the people under that flag than the ADOS folks, the people under that flag lack political sophistication to such a degree that it's bothersome. You know, it's frustrating.
You
right?
realize you realize you haven't answered my questions all night. You realize that, right? I've asked questions.
Let's walk down this path together, bro.
Right. Shout out to David Banner, my brother.
Let's walk down this path together. Reparations. There's two types. What are they?
Well, actually, there's 5.
Okay. No, you're referring to what solves reparations, right?
Huh?
You're referring to the 5 attributes as stated by the United Nations of what constitute. That's not what I asked you. I said that there are 2 types. What are they?
So maybe I don't understand your question, or maybe I don't know the 2 types. Enlighten me.
There are moral-based reparations, and there are punitive reparations. The only 2.
Okay.
Moral-based reparation says you did something to me. It's morally wrong what you did to me, and because of your value system, you have an obligation as a human to repair me. That's moral.
How are moral reparations repaired?
What was that?
Through what means are moral reparations repaired?
Listen to what I'm saying. Moral, the argument is what I'm saying. There's either moral or punitive. These are the approaches that you're going to take to get reparations. The other is what's referred to as punitive. These are reparations that come at the end of a war when the losing side sues for peace. When they sue for peace because they've lost, right, a part of that agreement and or treaty is reparations. The losing side pays the winning side, right? Those are the only 2 types of reparations. Either you're strong enough to defeat your enemy and defeat him to the point that he sues for peace, right? That he waves the white flag and you say my conditions for peace are this. First, you got to free all my political prisoners. Second, you got to cut me a check and this amount of dollars. Third, you got to give me land. Fourth, you got to give me equipment. Fifth, whatever it is that you decide, you set the terms because you're the victor. That's moral. That's punitive reparations. Comes at the end of a war. Moral. Wait.
Hold on, I want to make sure I'm hearing you. I just want to make sure I'm hearing you. Did you say that the loser decides or the winner decides?
The victor decides. The loser pays. The loser pays. Right?
Okay.
That's called punitive reparations. Comes at the end of a war. Moral-based reparations is what we or you all are pursuing. Moral-based reparations is, man, y'all owe us this shit. Y'all owe us a fucking debt, right? Because the only way that you get the reparations that you're referring to is you going through a legislative body in the U.S. government, getting legislation through the House of Representatives, through the Senate, to the president's desk. This is a multiracial society. In order for you to get legislative or moral-based reparations, you have to convince white folks to support them. They have to support them in order to get it. So it's the same thing when we talk about integration. It's the same thing as the civil rights movement. It's I'm going to march. I'm going to appeal to your consciousness to repair me. And the argument that I'm saying is if you are appealing to the consciousness of white people for reparations, not only do you not understand racism, white supremacy, you don't understand white people. You don't understand your enemy if you think you're going to receive moral-based reparations. It's not even intelligent. It's not intelligent.
Listen, part of what you're saying, I agree with. And we're not under that type of illusion. I'm not under that type of illusion. But part of what you said, too, I'm a little confused about, because when you think about, like, Japan, they got repaired and they weren't the victors.
Hold on.
Hold on, God.
No, you cannot.
Who got repaired.
No, you cannot.
But they didn't win the war.
You can't name one loser who got repaired. You know why? Because if you try to name the so-called the Jewish folks, they had power behind them. We ain't going to get into their power because that's a different conversation. It's not for this live. When you talk about the Japanese, they had the power of the Japanese state behind them that said, you're going to repair our people. Meanwhile, the people in this FBA collective, you eschew nationhood. You eschew power. The person who you say is not your leader has literally turned the word plebiscite into a joke. This is what I mean by y'all are unserious. Y'all uninformed. Like it's just like y'all lack political.
Now you're revealing it. Now you're revealing it.
No, y'all lack political sophistication.
That's not true. That's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not.
Okay. Let's continue the conversation on reparations. I said let's continue to go down the path.
Make it seem like, you know.
Let's continue to go down the path of reparations.
We don't really know what a plebiscite actually is. You know what I'm saying? We use this term, we don't even know what it is. Like, that's that type of condescending shit. Like, that's, come on.
It's not being condescending. I said the person who birthed and gave the name moniker, who developed the flag that's behind you, has turned the word plebiscite into a joke. And what I'm saying is,
you know the origin of the joke, though?
Wait. I don't care what it is. It reflects the level of unseriousness and unsophistication that's reflected in y'all ranks.
Nah, that's a personality thing.
I don't care about the origin of the jokes.
That's a personality thing.
No,
that's a personality thing.
Okay, let's continue to walk down the path of reparations. Because now, are we clear on the two different types of reparations? We clear?
I don't know about clear, but I'm following you a little bit.
What is it that we aren't clear on?
I'm not clear on this thing that you were saying about the victor and the loser pays the victor, or however you said that. I'm not really clear about that.
All right, bro.
And also, I'm not clear how you repair moral reparations.
No, I said it's a moral argument.
But how you repair it?
You only have two ways to.
And I'm still not clear. agree that we deserve reparations.
Hold on. You only, when you're saying that you want reparations, who are you asking for them from?
United States government.
What are your two ways to get them to act?
Political legislation.
So political legislation, right? That means it's your only tool of persuasion, right? Because political legislation in a democratic nation means that you have to persuade your fellow citizenry.
You have to maneuver. It's not persuade. You have to maneuver.
Bro.
You have to maneuver. Okay. You have to maneuver in a political manner, right?
Oh man, bro.
And so look. Here's the thing. This is where we find ourselves, right? We are the political base for the Democratic Party, right or wrong?
Yeah.
We're the ones that have been holding up the Democratic Party for about 60 years now. Is that correct or is that incorrect?
Brother,
I don't see what the problem is, man.
Because it's even more flawed assumptions, and the danger of the assumptions now is you might risk overplaying your hand, thinking that you got more strength than you got. So what I'm saying is your strategy and your tactics, man, if you don't understand these systems, if you don't understand, if the United States political, let's just, I want to end this statement right here because I want to keep them on the path of reparations. But what I need for you to understand is that U.S.
civil. This is civil.
No, it's very civil, but it's just that like there's a huge gap in between where you are and where I am. Right. But what I would love to be understood is that U.S. democracy is a sham government. Period. Point blank. We as a black collective here, there is literally no amount of political organizing we can do that's going to advance us legislatively.
Okay.
Then this is a deeper lesson that we're not going to get in this conversation right here, right?
Okay. Just so I'm clear on that, don't politically organize. It's a waste of time.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's why I'm asking.
So here's the thing. You and I understand politics differently. What you just did with that statement is you've truncated our political energy to electoral politics, right? That's what you did, because my statement was only that no amount of political organizing is going to advance us through electoral politics. That was my statement, right? But the gamut of politics goes way beyond just fucking elections. I said everything is political. And your response to me, because I said that we're not going to move to electoral politics, you said, well, then just do nothing. You see how that doesn't make sense?
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question to get clarity on what you're saying.
I just gave you clarity. All right. So my analysis of politics.
So you saying
my analysis of politics is not truncated.
Other things we need to be doing. There are things we need to be doing politically, but voting is not one of them. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm telling you is that every single thing is political. I said that 1,000 times tonight.
And
I said that 1,000 times tonight. And what was that?
I haven't argued with that. You said it 1,000 times, and I haven't argued with it.
Okay, bro. I tell you what. And I'll in the African War College. You asked me earlier tonight, as a Pan-African, do I have any critiques on other segments of Black people? I have a lecture series called "Strike Drum: The Political Awakening of African Consciousness," and there's a three-part lecture.
What's it called?
It's called "Strike Drum," right? Like Jay Electronica, Mama Says Son, you got the strike drum. It's called Strike Drum.
Strike Drum.
Yeah, the political awakening of African consciousness. It's 10 lectures, but 3 of those lectures are called Nigerianism on Trial. Speaks to what you're looking forward to. You should check that out. But beyond that, there's 2 lectures in there called Malcolm X, Part 1 and Part 2, Malcolm X and the Neoliberal Assault on Democratic Rule. If you watch Part 1 and Part 2 and you walk away with the evidence presented, still thinking that legislation is a path to power, I'm gonna question your intelligence.
It's just part of it, brother. It's not an all-encompassing thing.
All right. Well, then that means you don't understand the American sham government, and that's a conversation for another time. We ain't gonna get to that here. There was, bro. You keep taking me. We were continuing on the path to reparations. Let's do that. Let's stay on it, because now we're clear.
Listen,
on the 2 types.
You say I'm taking you. You're doing a little bit of plebiscite babbling, brother. You're doing a little bit of plebiscite babbling.
Okay.
You're taking yourself down the road.
That's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Dr. Amos Wilson said that in order for us to exist in the conditions that we exist in, we have to get fatigued when we're talking about something serious, right?
Right.
We can't engage in serious conversation and dialogue, because that's the way that we've been engineered. So I'm trying to go through this process of reverse engineering your consciousness, and you calling it plebiscite babbling. You see how unserious that is?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Right. Let's go there. Let's continue down the path. Let's continue down the path. Let's continue down this path of reparations. So we've identified the 2 types, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's either going to be moral or punitive. Okay.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be both.
Okay, bro. That means you assume your enemy has morality, which again, you know, you brought up Neely Fuller earlier, where he said, if you,
I don't assume the enemy does. We do, though.
Okay. All right. Let's continue down this path. So, who pays us reparations?
You asked me that already.
Yeah, let's keep going down the path. Who pays us?
The United States government.
Okay, bro. Glad you said it. If we're referring to our ancestors who were enslaved on this particular landmass referred to as the United States, right?
And we are.
On the flag that you got behind you, right?
Which one?
The one with the red, white, and blue, the Americana flag. Yeah, that one. Right? Okay. So that flag has the year 1526 on it.
Right.
1526 represents the year that the Spanish brought Africans to this landmass.
Mm-hmm.
1619 represents the year that the English brought Africans to this landmass. 1711 represents the year that the French brought Africans to this landmass, right? So all of the African people here, the descendants of the enslaved Africans, we have a claim not just on the United States of America, right? We have a claim on the French government, on the Spanish government, on the English government. But guess what? Just like the Spanish.
Don't leave out some of the Africans. Don't leave out some of the Africans.
Wait. Just like the Spanish, right? Just like the Spanish brought Africans here in 1526, they brought Africans to what's known as Haiti. They brought Africans to part of Latin America, right? So this fight that we have is one that's all in common. But so if you're referring to our fight for reparations, right? I'm not a legal person. What's the claimant refers to, or the defendant, the person that owes? The point that I'm making is if you're referring to who owes the reparations, bro, we as Africans in this particular country are owed reparations from the United States government, the French, the British, the Spanish, the English church. And okay, let's go even further. Let's get into these goddamn American corporations, right? Insurance corporations, shipbuilders, banks. Like the shit is more right. It's more sophisticated than.
You're right. You're right. But how about this? You're absolutely right about all of that. But how about this? One thing at a time.
Okay, bro.
It's very simple.
Okay.
How about one thing at a time?
Okay. All right. Listen.
I'm just saying, how about one thing at a time?
Let me, because I only got one more question for you, bro. Let me just say this, bro.
And you conveniently left out the Africans because some of them owe too.
There was no okay, bro. We not gonna. Whew, man, this is hard, bro. This is hard. Like, man.
Yeah. You're overcomplicating things.
I'm
that
not.
Are very
I'm not. What I'm accounting
You're
for.
overcomplicating things that are very simple. Listen,
What
I
I'm
understand
accounting for, bro,
you are
the,
intelligent brother.
I'm
You are well read brother.
accounting for
But
the
you're
gap in your
overcomplicating
knowledge base. I'm accounting for the gap in your knowledge base that's hard as fuck. No, I'm serious, bro.
Your assumption.
No, it's not an assumption, bro. Like when you speak, you reveal the gap. Like I'm not in love, bro. Let's keep it.
Look,
down,
listen. I have a statement that I say every time I go live, every time I get on one of these podcasts, or whatever the case may be. I am not the master teacher. You know the rest. You wrote it in your caption. I'm only the master student. So I don't claim to be some scholar or some anything like that. I'm just a brother, a concerned brother with some common sense. I'm just a concerned.
I appreciate that you put that on the table, because that was actually my last question for you. Because you said that you get offended when people call y'all a group, or when you say that when people say that y'all are following, those individuals over there, right? When y'all are when people say that y'all are followers of Tariq Nasheed, you said you get offended by that. But
no,
literally, I mean,
it's not true. I'm not offended.
All right, I got your quote.
Right.
And if you go back, you said I'm personally offended when people say that we are followers of Tariq Nasheed. I have a brain. I have discernment. I know how to cross-examine information. Y'all are doing straw man arguments, right? So that's your quote.
Right. But you also have to say what I'm responding to when I wrote that.
What, you didn't write it, you said it.
Oh, okay. Well, what was I responding?
There was your video about Taharka Bay. It's on September the 22nd, 2022. Go watch your video. You literally said you're personally offended because Tariq is no leader. Y'all not followers of him. But hold on, wait. In that same video, it was interesting because I watched the video. In your banner, you had master student of the new black media. So what does it mean to be a master student if not a follower or a disciple?
No. I said signal booster of the new black media.
Master student and signal booster of the new black.
Right. The master student part, that refers to life. I'm a student of life. You know what I'm saying? I can learn from anybody.
I give you that. Okay. Your sentence was poorly structured.
I'll
give you that. Okay.
The latter part of the sentence about the new black media was the signal booster part. Those two go together.
Okay. Yeah, there wasn't a period in between those. There was an and, but I'll let you have that. I'll let you have it. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, you already just stated here on the live about 5 minutes ago that you ain't the master teacher. You're the master student.
Facts.
You just said that. So what was that?
You the master teacher?
I'm definitely not. I'm a student of history and struggle. I'm a student of our liberation, and I apply the lessons.
Okay.
Right? And so that's why I felt it was important to create the African War College. Because if everything is about war, then you need to understand strategies and tactics of war. You need to understand your enemy. Right? Mama Marimba Ani, she said, in order to teach Pan-African studies well, you have to teach Pan-African studies and European studies simultaneously. Why? Because to know your enemy, right, and to know yourself is to not fear the results of 1,000 battles. The issue that I have is, like, not only do y'all not know the enemy, right, Y'all don't understand, y'all, bro. Why
do you say we don't know the enemy though? Where does that come from? When you get that we don't know the enemy, where does that come from?
If anybody is pursuing moral-based reparations, they don't know the enemy. But more importantly than that, bro, and I want to wrap up here. More important
reparations, but go ahead, wrap up.
More importantly than that,
I never heard nobody say that except you. But
what? You never heard nobody say what?
Moral-based reparations.
Oh my goodness, man.
I'm just saying. You said that's what we're appealing to, and I'm just saying I never even heard that. So.
Oh my goodness. Y'all are pursuing reparations through the vehicle
Economic
of
reparations.
Y'all are pursuing reparations through the vehicle of legislation, which means y'all have the task of persuading the legislative body.
No, we have the task of maneuvering.
Oh my goodness, bro. Whatever you call it. Y'all have the task of maneuvering the legislative body. And it's like, bro, yo. All right. This is what I'll say, man. Remember that 60-year gap that I referred to, bro? It's significant, yo. It's significant because what's very scary is that the tactics that I see being attempted or deployed, or the ones that folks give consideration to, like, are tactics that have already been proven to not work, right? So if you actually have studied, you know, it's like liberation is a science, right? And the battlefield is the lab. So you got to take lab notes. What have been our war tactics and strategies that we've deployed over the past 100 years? And if you don't examine them, like, intentionally, to understand what happened, what were the assumptions, and what went wrong, then what happens is you end up repeating the same assumptions that have already been proven wrong. All right, my bro said we've hour and 40 minutes in. Quick question for you, bro, because I want to give you.
That's what you just stunned me with that one, though. So what are we repeating again? When was this done before?
When was what done before?
You're saying we're repeating some mistake from the past or something like that.
Bro, the strategy and tactics that y'all are pursuing for reparations are legislative. There are only so many levers that we have to pull. We can walk through history. Wait. We can walk through history and examine the pulling of these levers, the assumptions that was based on the pulling of the levers, and identify why and where they didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's easy to do. Your co-host, first of all, your co-host posted something about the doors closed. What the hell does that mean?
Shout out to Nicey Girl. Yeah. I didn't see what she said. What she said? She said
she posted the doors closed. What does that mean?
I'm not sure. She might be responding to somebody in the comments.
Oh, okay.
No.
I didn't know if that was like one of y'all sayings or something like that.
Oh, no.
You know, yeah. All right. Go ahead, bro. I'll let you first and foremost, I appreciate, you reaching out. You said you wanted to challenge me on the statement that I made about hitching your identity to America is the equivalent of hitching your identity to a sinking ship. To answer Afro Elite, he said, ask him, how do we get reparations? The answer is power. Now, if you want to have a conversation about how we build power, that's a longer conversation.
This is part of it.
Right? That's a longer conversation. But what I will tell you is this. Everything that I see people under the FBA moniker doing right now, like I see somebody in the back, somebody said, "We are Americans." Tierra Dynamite, shout out to her. It's very interesting. But anyway, everything that I see.
What does it mean to be an American? What does it mean to be an American?
What is America? America is a Western European political project. The United States of America.
It's
the Western European political. It's every aspect of the United States of America is a Western European political project. From the slaughtering of the natives and taking the land is a Western European project. from the enslaving of the Africas to build the economy is the Western European project.
What is
Their revolution, their constitution, all of it. It's Jim Crow, massacre. All of this is a Western European project.
Let me ask the question this way. Let me ask the question this way. If we're not Americans, what are we?
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you asked. I mean, when have we stopped being Africans is the question I would love to know.
African is not a nationality. That's a
oh my goodness, African. We
hold
are.
A second. So listen. Hold on.
Y'all gonna have to do me a favor. Just this question alone.
What you just said though. If somebody
alone, I need y'all to do me a favor.
Somebody says they are a Jamaican. Do you say, when did we stop being Africans?
Yes. Because Jamaican is African is your race. Jamaican is your nationality. Like, bro. These, wait. American is your nationality if you're integrationist. Yes, we've already aligned on that. If you go,
what city are you in? What city are you in?
Oh
what city are you in?
Goodness, bro.
What city are you in?
Oh my goodness! I tell you what.
What state are you in?
I tell you what. My.
All right. Which African country do you live in? I'm just saying.
Like, no, bro. Like,
how come you're not in Africa?
Hold on one second, man. Hold on one second. These questions, bro, are so exhausting and remedial.
I'm just keeping it simple. I'm just keeping it simple. It's not deep.
It's
not deep.
No. This is what happens when we as a collective get disconnected and uprooted.
Acts 7, you know.
What was that?
No, I'm talking to my son.
Yeah, bro, we're not gonna answer these questions tonight, man.
You don't answer questions.
No, man.
That's part of your thing. You don't answer questions.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's tough, bro. It's tough. Like, I'm trying to be real patient here, but it's really hard. Yeah, it's hard. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, you were starting to close, so again, man, appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My goal wasn't to try to change your mind or anything like that, but I know that there are people that are tuning in who are genuinely confused. So hopefully, some of them would get something constructive out of it. Was really my goal. You know what I'm saying? For other people to be able to get something constructive from the conversation. But that's the one.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the only reason why I entertained the conversation as well. Yeah, I went and checked out your YouTube. You're a sensible brother. You know, not having it, like, there's a difference between ignorance does not necessarily mean unintelligence.
It just means you don't know.
Exactly. It just means that you, like, if it might be just a gap in what you have access to. So you're an intelligent brother. Like, yeah, I think that's the only reason why I accepted it. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll have a conversation because I checked you out. And I was like, okay, brother, he got a mind. He got some sense. He has some level of, like, consciousness. But one of the things that, I'll be 40 next year, right? I'm not sure. So what was that?
Happy birthday. Yeah,
in a year from now, I'll be 40. I'm just saying, like, as a geriatric millennial, right? When we look at our generation, bro, one of the things that we got to understand, man, is that we've been disconnected and unplugged, miseducated, and misinformed. And the work to re-engage that history, right? Dr. John Henry Clark talks about that in the notes on the African World Revolution, right? One of the things that I was going to say is, if you are asking me the questions that you were just asking me about, you know, are you in America and these things that nature, please remove Dr. Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Francis Cresswell. Please remove them from any iconography associated with anything that you were doing, because it represents a false flag. These questions have already been answered, and if you are asking those types of questions, and at the same time lifting up Dr. Francis Cresswell, Dr. Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson, you are literally betraying their legacy.
That's crazy.
Oh, you are. It's actually insanity, bro.
That's crazy. No, listen. It's supposed to be a baton. You know, we're not supposed to get the information and
and you took it and ran backwards. They handed you the baton. They handed you the baton. You wrapped yourself in red, white, and blue, set yourself on fire, and ran back to the
whole time. The whole cutting each other off. We didn't do this the whole time. We kept it pretty cool.
Go ahead.
But we're supposed to be able to update information. We're supposed to be able to respond to the situation and the circumstances that we find ourselves in the moment. And what we have found out is that some of these terms that have been placed upon us have been working against us. They have been weaponized against us. And so all we did was take a step back and say, okay, we need something that is specific to us so that we can get what we need out of this political structure over here. And then we can figure out what we need to do next. But first of all, we got to get our weight up. We're going to need some resources. Because like you said, we have war. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to need some resources. And one of the ways that they've kept the resources out of our hands is by using these broad, ambiguous terms. So all we did was reject those terms, and then we started to pick up some that worked better for us. That's all we did. We're not contradicting anything that the master teachers brought forth. Nothing at all.
Yeah, bro. You're not even on the same planet, and I not you in particular. I'm talking about this movement, everything that comes. It doesn't even exist. Like,
I think the conversation would have been a little bit easier if you would answer some of the questions. You don't answer the questions when I ask questions, but that's fine, and we can end this.
All right, yo, brother, sincerely, man, I appreciate you, bro. You know, just continue to grow, man. Continue to keep.
No doubt, I respect you. You know what I mean? We good money, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I follow you. I got some value out of your content. You know what I'm saying? I will continue to do so. We're not going to agree every step of the way, but I think that we can have respectful disagreements, and that's okay.
And where were you at?
I'm in Georgia.
Oh, you don't. All right. I was gonna say we gotta find a way to connect in person one of these days, man.
I'm from New York originally. I'll be up that way sometimes, but I'm down here in Georgia for now.
All right, bro. Listen, man, I appreciate you. You know, peace to you and your family. Peace to your co-hosts who always be throwing shade. She don't be liking the shot. She don't be liking the shots. I be taking.
You know, that's the warrior right there. That's the warrior.
Listen, African women have always had that warrior energy. So I respect it. I just wanted to get her mind right and stop calling herself an American. That's a step backwards. That's like you mean Dr. Clark and them did the work of bringing us forward, right? Of bringing us up out of this situation. You know what I'm saying? And we done wrapped ourselves in an American flag and ran back into the house with gasoline on. Like, it don't make sense.
I mean, yeah, man, we American. We more American than anybody.
That's cool. But I guess what? Again, that's very short-sighted to hitch your cart to this Western European political project. Wait.
We still acknowledge that we are global people, though.
Hold on one second. This project, America. I thought about Malcolm right there when he said "we sick." But
that type of shit at all.
That's what we Americans sound like. It sounds like that to be out. But I'll say this, bro. I want better for us. We need long-term vision. America's going down. So hitching your cart to a sinking ship.
I can't wait.
All right, hitching your cart to a sinking ship ain't the way to go. So, BB Fahoudieh, race first. appreciate having you here.
Peace and black love.
All right, brother. Black on. All right, y'all. We out. Appreciate all the FBA folks who pulled up. Appreciate all the Africans who pulled up. Peace and black power. We out of here. All right.